Now we finally have a question that only has a single part. So, the issue of the U.S. Constitution is a set of rules intended on telling government what its limits are. There have been lawmakers who insist on overstepping their authority and making laws that are in contrast to the founding document. Most constitutionalists believe that an unconstitutional law is not a law. If such a law were passed, would you be obliged to enforce it? I think we've already answered that, but if you want to respond to it.
Can you repeat it again? I'm sorry.
If such a law were passed, would you be obliged to enforce it?
I've answered it, yes. Again, when I took the job to be a policeman in the state of Indiana, I took an oath. So if law gets it put into place, I will enforce it, yes.
John, I'll read it again. The U.S. Constitution is a set of rules intended at telling government what its limits are. There have been lawmakers who insist on overstepping their authority and make laws that are in contrast to the founding document. Most constitutionalists believe that an unconstitutional law is not a law. If such a law were passed, would you be obliged to enforce it?
Well, it's difficult as a police officer to determine what's constitutional and what's not, what is not constitutional. And I'm not so sure that it's our job to interpret the law. However, whether it's constitutional or not, I think it's important that we have a good working relationship with our county attorney and our prosecuting attorney as well. And over the course of my career, we have had several laws that were kind of head scratchers where we weren't really quite sure, so we did defer to our prosecutor or our county attorney. Sometimes the Attorney General of the state of Indiana, and we've said, we're not quite sure how to interpret this. What's your take on it? So I think if there was ever a question as to the constitutionality, I think that we should fall back on the experts and ask them how they feel and get a ruling from them before we proceed. I would always put it into abeyance until we were 100% sure that we were on good, sound legal grounds.
Steve? Would you like me to repeat it?
No, I think I have it. Yes, we are bound as police officers, which I'm not right now, but will be if elected, to obey the law, to uphold the law and the Constitution. But yes, very definitely, the sheriff has a duty to, now maybe not for every little thing that has already been set and has already been well in practice and there's no complaints or questions about, but yes, if we get a no-knock warrant and it's for $50 worth of drugs, that this happened down in Georgia where a young boy, a flash grenade was thrown into his crib, and burned the side of his face, and has taken almost $1 million worth of treatment. Do we honor the Fourth Amendment in cases like that for $50 sale of drugs or something and go in with a full force? That's not the way that things should be done, and that's where we're headed. And this report I referred to earlier has a lot of incidents like that. So a sheriff has a duty to you to be sure that something is really constitutional. I don't care if the court says, hey, you can't stop us from coming in even if we're making a mistake. I mean, that's just flying in the face of the Constitution. So a sheriff's going to have to make some decisions there, some executive decisions, some administrative decisions, but decisions that affect you and his officers. So I don't want any of the guys getting hurt either. I don't want you feeling defenseless, and I don't want them feeling like they can't enforce and do their job because of fear of retribution or whatever. And it's getting to the point now across this nation where the police officer is losing credibility in the face of the people, and that has got to stop. And I am still, even though it's been a number of years since I've been in the department, I still have a great love for law enforcement, and I don't like to see these things happening. And these things are happening because of some of it getting out of control. And there's only one way to prevent that, and that's to start reining in the things before they happen here. Yes, we can say it'll never happen here, but I'm sure that there's a lot of people across this country that have been saying that. And these reports are full of incidents like that, and I'm sure that people thought it would never happen there.
Alan, another John? You need another 60 seconds, Steve?